Hello ladies and gents, welcome to a new Night POV review. In front of us is the new Forthing T5 EVO Sport. Now we have the sport trim on the test. We had exclusive last year, but it's the same Mitsubishi's petrol engine inside. So this is the front wheel drive. Inside is the 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. It's a 1.5 liter and it's linked to 7-speed dual clutch automatic. We're sitting on 19-inch alloys. Now this is a sport trim. We have a little bit different bumpers and side skirt here, but we do have the same color as last year when we had the exclusive trim. Now the car locked itself. I'm going to unlock it once again. You can see the LED bar. Now if you keep your lights on position when you unlock it, they turn at night on, but if it's on automatic they won't. I'm going to use the key fob to open the cargo space or the boot space. I have a new camera, so it's letting in more light so you can see much better in this video. Now here's the cargo space. We have a very spacious 480 liters of cargo space and 1480 if you knock down the seats. That is nice and practical. This car got some updates. It doesn't matter if you go for the exclusive or the sport trim we have here. There are some new updates in the interior. If you're new into this video, I would suggest check my detailed review. Now we have a familiar cockpit and you can see the ambient lights. Now we have these sport seats. These are really great and they have integrated headrests, so this is kind of beige, between beige and brown, light brown leather, and the interior is familiar, but we now have the updated infotainment and we have a digital cockpit instead of that calculator looking like Speedo. If we turn on the car, you can see displays will boot up. Now I've reset the trip computer and we're going to see the fuel. Now you always get this message. It says the battery is too low. In order to prevent battery depletion, please switch on the vehicle. I'm not sure if this is a sort of a bug because I've been running the car, so the battery should be fine. Now come to the home screen here. We're gonna show you some music, but if you're here for the first time, they've updated the infotainment. It looks way better. It's faster. We have digital radio. We have radio with RDS now. You can see here. Now they told me they're gonna switch these out, so you have the station name now and the frequency, but they're gonna switch them up. So this one's gonna be like a big station name and then frequency, and also the favorites is gonna be names. Now let's play some music here. So I can't play it for too long. The speakers are good. I would say they're not great or excellent, but they're good. They have decent bass and maybe not too much depth, but it's a decent, good, clear sound. Now, let me just see here. I'm gonna keep the AC. I can actually use the dial here. I'm gonna keep it at 22. And we have here apps. So this is nice and fast. Now we have Google Maps, but I'm going to use Apple CarPlay. There's also a shortcut if you go here back right here, and it's also very nice and fast. I'm going to use Waze for my default map because we have a nice preview, and I like these colors. Look, gray, yellow, gray, yellow. Now before we head out to show you the 360 cameras, we have excellent resolution on the cameras and we have the 3D. You can actually move this one and see the car from different angles. We have the wheel, so you can see here the wheels and the tires, so that is excellent. I like to keep it on 2D because I can see the front traffic light in some cases if this is a blind spot. Put it to drive and let's head out. I've lowered the screen brightness, so hopefully it will not be an issue. Before you head out, see, everything is on and I've set the lights on position lights only, and I just remembered I'm saying this multiple times, people are driving with their daytime running lights on and everything inside is on, and they do not notice that they're driving at night with lights off. So do keep your lights on. You might notice it's a little bit busy here, and you can see the Musk has some lights on. I believe it's a holiday for them, so that's why it's busy there. So some of the regular audience might notice that, because this is kind of my spot where I film. Okay, now been testing this car and enjoying it for a few days, and it's an improvement compared to the last model year with this new infotainment, and it works great, looks great. We have auto hold standard. Now I love this car the last year, and the selling point was the price and the very spacious and practical SUV, especially for families. So we have plenty of space inside, back and forward, front and rear, and in the cargo room. And I really enjoy big SUVs, but it was quite comfortable. This Mitsubishi's 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol again is excellent. It's a very agile, and I'm driving now in normal driving mode, but when you kick it into the sport mode, you really feel this engine is nice and fast. Now I believe in this normal there's also eco, and it's not that numb as in most cars. The normal and eco feel like they're, I would say, maybe around 150 horsepower, and then when you go to sport, it unlocks the full 177 horsepower, and then the engine just feels more responsive. Although in this one it's more than enough as well for me personally. Now the brakes are good on this car. They're not super aggressive, they're not laid, so they're just about right. Steering comfort, I've set it on standard. There's like comfort and sport. Some people would prefer sport because the very comfort setting is super light, and if you're playing with the infotainment a little bit, it's easy to get outside the lane. And unfortunately this car doesn't have a lane assist. It has only a classical cruise control. It doesn't have a radar. Those are still some of the perhaps compromises you will have to live with, but the infotainment, no RDS, and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are now standard. They work wirelessly, so those things are not something that needs to be compromised anymore. Now if I'm talking about something I would like in this car, is definitely a heated steering wheel, because you have heated seats. Even the driver one is ventilated, and what I would really like is a heated steering wheel. It's very practical in the winter, and it doesn't have a wireless phone charger or a USB-C. So those are maybe like three things if really being picky. Everything else is standard more or less. We have now blind spot warning and rear cross traffic alerts, so that is standard. That's great. It's part of the upgrades, let's call it that way. So infotainment and blind spot there. And this car is now even better, I would say, and even more competitive. Now the exclusive trim was 30,000 euros. This one, the sport trim, starts for only additional 1,500 euros minus 10, but I've rounded up. So that's a huge value as well if you want to go for the sport trim. In that case, you get the sport seats in this beige color. They even look more posh, and the interior feels more posh. If you look at some other brands just for that and for the sport exterior bumpers, you would pay much more than just 1,500. LED headlights, amazing performance. The long beam is super bright. The standard beam is also very bright and wide, but it's not too tall. It's not blinding. You can of course raise it if you need to, but It's great, and the car inside is great. It's very comfortable. I love the seats are comfortable. Sitting position inside the car is comfortable, and you have nice big mirrors. You can see good around you. You have excellent high resolution cameras as well, and overall very pleasant driving experience as well. The petrol is very responsive if I speed up a little bit faster, and I didn't even use like 50% of throttle, believe me. This car just is a nice cruising machine. Now you might hear maybe the brakes a little bit sometimes. It really depends on what materials they're using. So these sometimes squeak a little bit. There's that blind spot warning. And yeah, but overall an amazing SUV. Now fuel consumption, I've did last night my standard fuel consumption, so driving around 50 kilometers, between 60 and 80 kilometers per hour, so that's average 60. Late night, so not too much traffic, and anticipating when to brake. Like now I release the throttle, and then at the very end I brake, and then I gently accelerate. So gentle, driving. My lowest fuel consumption was 5.4 liters. Last year when I tested this same engine, just in the exclusive trim, it was around 5 liters. So it depends on the traffic maybe, and outside temperature. But yeah, see, because of this I can't see the traffic light, but it's fine. Now I've said all the good stuff. Is there any bad stuff? Well, there are a few bugs I've noticed in the car, perhaps. I've told you they've told me that they're gonna fix the radio station names, and there is a bug in this infotainment. So I'm not sure how this passed through the development into the car as in production, sort of speak. It's not that it's something that's necessarily faulty, but it's just the order. If you go to the actually car settings, gear, here it says backlight. If I go OK, you can see here it says average fuel consumption. So this is a trip computer, and if I go back, if I go to volume, it says volume here, and I press in, it's the backlight. So you can see someone messed up the order of menus and what you're supposed to open up. I mean, it's not a big deal. I believe they can fix this in a software update, but it's weird. Yeah. Now let's see, our fuel consumption has spiked a lot here. I reset it, but I did accelerate a little bit faster, so it is quite high. We're gonna see for the end of the trip. We're not gonna focus on the fuel consumption, but with my test already proven that this engine could be very efficient, and it really depends on your driving style. You could be also thirsty if you're a fast driver, heavy foot. Now we're gonna come to the highway. I'm gonna kick it into the sport mode, so you're gonna feel and see how that works a little bit as well. Now I'm gonna hit this manhole. This one's really big. I barely felt it. This one as well. I mean, you can hear it, but it's super comfortable. Despite 19-inch, the tires are nice and thick because it's an SUV, bigger alloy, and despite 19-inch, it's quite comfortable. But also the suspension is very good and soft. It's not maybe like French soft, like French cars, but it is better and softer than German cars. We had some good run with the traffic lights. Now, I'm not gonna speed up here faster. I wanted to demonstrate, but this guy is not that fast. This is a tall SUV. There is slight leaning if you go really fast in the bends, but otherwise it's fine. It's not that much. The back end doesn't slip, but again, it's a big SUV and it will lean a little bit if you are too aggressively going into a corner. I'm gonna floor it all the way here. Slightly going uphill, but you can see the performance. You can also see the performance of the LED headlights. Now, I'm gonna switch it to sport. I'll slow it down a little bit and then floor it. So at 150 there's a lot of wind noise and tire noise. 130. Slow down to 100. Again, nice feature with the blind spot. So this is 100. I can mostly hear the tire noise. This is a soft asphalt and now rough. So you can hear the difference, soft, rough. But good soundproof in general, even at higher speeds. Decent for this big SUV, which is not super aerodynamic. Now, if I engage the cruise control, press. So it's a classical cruise control. That to that. I wish this had lane assist, but maybe that's and the adaptive cruise control. Those are the only two things I would like to have in this car. Another good thing is there is no annoying speed warning when you pass a certain speed change, shims. So that's mandatory in Europe. I'm not sure how the Chinese avoided that. I tested the Geely Starray, it didn't have that as well. But all European models and even some American models that I had on test, they have this new regulation, speed limit change. You need to be warned, and you need to be warned by sound when you're passing the speed limit. And I know most of you just find that a little bit annoying. But that's just European bureaucracy. So, you know, someone decided, you know, let's put this, and didn't really think about it if it's good. I think that should be an option. Like and I think it was an option for a long time. So if you want that, you can have it, but don't force it on people. You know, people sometimes drive a little bit faster, but that's fine if it's like 10%. But you know, should keep it to a certain speed. I'm gonna slow down here. This is where the actual road construction starts. So there's people working here. I can see there's a light in there, so just slow it down. This is my exit. again, this car just, it's a beautiful cruising machine and speeds up very easily. And in the city, I honestly sometimes forget I'm speeding. I just look at the gauge and I'm like realizing I'm speeding more than I would like to, and so on the avenues, of course. But that's a good thing, because if you're driving so smooth and you don't even notice, that's usually a sign that the car is very well built. That's a good cruising machine, and it's very comfortable. Although you should pay attention to the speed limits, of course, and to safety in general. Yeah, but I gotta say, I really love the car. Now, maybe one thing I would maybe change. I like this layout of the digital cockpit they've chosen, and red buttons and all over the dash are kind of a little bit outdated and thing of the past. It's like old Audis, and most cars I've noticed have now white background. I really like that one. There was like blue in some of the Volkswagen models in the past, green in Skoda, but they've all switched to white and it really looks good. So maybe that's one thing I would do. And then regarding the ambient lights, I guess this is signature for Forthing, but I would maybe select something because they have this nice layout, like Seat or Tesla, that one that extends through the doors and the dash. That would be real nice if we're talking about some potential upgrades for the next model year. We're gonna head out to our part where there's no street lights, and since this is a brand new car, it has 668 kilometers on the clock. It hasn't passed the braking period of 1,000 kilometers, and I won't do 0 to 100. I just don't want to stress out the car, or excuse me, the engine. It's a new engine, so it just wouldn't be fair to do that. Now, so I cannot see the traffic light right now, but I can see it here on the front camera. Now, this is the camera on the dash, I believe. Actually, no, this one's on the license plate, but sometimes I've noticed a difference between the both. And I usually start reviewing a little bit later when there's less traffic. You can see there's also traffic here, so doing 0 to 100, I need to do it when there's no traffic for safety reasons, because it's only a demonstration and not something I do every day. But we're going to be there in a moment. Again, very nice and fast driving machine, and even if you accelerate gently, you cannot hear the engine revving super hard, because I'm like using maybe 20% or less to accelerate. It just picks up the speed very easily, effortlessly, and so effortlessly. It just drives very smooth. On the way back, I'm just gonna put it to sport so you can see that as well. I think this guy has forgot he has a long beam blasting in my eyes, blinding me. Wow. There's another car incoming, so I'm just telling you, it's a little bit busy. I just went too early to make a review. Wow, do all the people have long beams on? Okay, I'm not gonna go all the way down here. This is the full beam. It's super bright and it just shoots super far. The beam is also nice and bright and super wide. I have a new camera, it's better, but it's still not good as iPhone. I'm just tired of taking iPhone outside here. I am backing up with the camera, as you can see, and they are very, very useful. There's a car, so I'm just gonna wait for him to pass. You can see also a demonstration of rear cross traffic, very practical. Okay, now this is the bottom camera. You can see the beam is like further out. There's like a part where there's shadow. Now let me just kick it into sport. So I'm going to speed up here from 50, just a little. Wow, just, and again, I didn't use it. I mean, I didn't press it in all the way, so it's not screaming, but it's just accelerating very nicely. You might see the car is wobbling. Actually, the asphalt here is wobbly, so that's when you have a comfortable suspension, the car is wobbling a little bit. But putting it into eco, as I've mentioned, you know, it's good actually. It doesn't feel very numb. Although I did my fuel consumption test in the normal, because that's the driving mode most of you will be using, and it's a default one. I'm curious what will be the consumption with the eco mode, because it doesn't feel so numb like most of cars. In most of cars, when you put it into eco mode, it's just like very numb and slow response on the acceleration or the gas pedal. Oh, I'm just not used to this in my reviews. So much traffic. It's 10 o'clock, around 10. I usually come out at midnight. Less traffic, less people, less busy, more safer for me to drive at night as well. Again, it's such a nice cruising machine. Now, one of the reasons I love these two are such a good match regarding colors. Waze is super useful, and there's that Google satellite view and everything, but this is gold. This is something that's really worth having in your car as a default, because it's very useful, not just for speeding cameras and cops, but for generally road constructions. There's sometimes accidents, and you can mark those for other people to know, so you're part of the community, and you know, you're telling each other what to watch out on the road. I'm not saying I'm encouraging speeding. We do have 10 kilometers up to 100 kilometers per hour, and 10% above that here in Croatia, which I think is very liberal for speeding, if you can call that speeding. The Germans wouldn't call that speeding, but they have different rules. They're an exception, so are we. But I don't like, again, Austria type countries with very strict speeding limits as well. Now, to check my fuel consumption, it's 8 liters, and this is understandable. It's slightly like dropping, but I've, you know, driven a little bit faster. Now, last night I was recording the night tour, and I was actually recording this one, but my camera by accident zoomed in, and half of the footage was like zoomed, so I had to redo this. But my fuel consumption was then like 6 after my test drive, and maybe around 6.5, but since I've idled the car more, it just started going up. So it'd be really interesting to see what would be my personal fuel consumption, because I think I can keep it under 8, no problem. Maybe around 6.5, but it depends if you're driving a lot in the city, or if you're more on the open road or the highway. On the highway, you can expect like probably 8-9 liters fuel consumption. If you're driving faster, maybe 10. But that's that. We're at the garage. We're about to wrap up the video. I would say this is still great value for money. Give it a try. Go test it out for yourself. And for all of you who are skeptic, I mean, this has a Mitsubishi engine inside, so it's not something new. Regarding supply of parts, of course they need to have parts. They already have stock of parts, so don't worry. I mean, I heard some of your arguments and questions regarding Chinese cars, and I know some of you are a little bit skeptic, and you're gonna wait for some other people to buy them first and let them prove themselves. But honestly, this is not that new. It's just a new brand in Europe. But overall, a good value for money. I don't think you can get, when I think about it, in the European brands, this size large SUV. And I know there's a lot of competition, but this is a good value for money. So I would encourage you to, go for a test drive. Okay, let me just park here. I wanted to exit a little bit and show you the car. And the cameras for the end. I can go a little bit forward. I like to be inside the markings. I think that's responsible parking. So if there's more cars, you don't hit each other with the door. Press to park. And that's it. Don't forget your valuables inside the car. Now, in order to show you the lights, if I turn off the car, I've kept it like this. But as you saw when I've headed out, I've quickly noticed that my lights are off. So don't drive like that outside. Drive on automatic, so your lights are always on. So this is just for me to exit and show the car, so it's not completely off, because most cars do have lights on, and I like to see the car with coming and leaving home feature. That's something you don't have in this car, but it's one of the things you have to take as a compromise. So just a quick walk around. You can see the beautiful front end, you can see the interior, and just to show you the taillights, so it's the one connected LED bar, looking quite cool. Now, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. If you share this video, it helps me a lot as well, and thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.